Thank you very much. Bismarck, Bekeme, can we have your initial comments, please?
Hello, everyone. My name is Bekeme Masade Olola, and I'm very honored to be here. My fellow Unilag, Greater Caucayites. Okay, so I think I'm the most qualified to be here because I didn't hear any other person say that they actually went here. Did she say that? Okay, if you say so. Okay, so I'm a social scientist, and I'm not going to compete with Mr. Riwani, who was quoted throughout when the keynote speaker was speaking and reminding us all of all that he's done in this space. So I like telling human stories because I feel like the SDGs are about humans, okay? I think that there are all sorts of things that happen or that are planned for that never actually come to pass because of the human beings that don't let them happen. You gave some fantastic examples of different countries of the world who committed to doing certain things that never quite happened. And I mean, if I look at the SDGs and what the SDGs aim to attain, including social justice, including peace, biodiversity, reducing poverty and all of that. If we need to tackle that by 2030 in Nigeria, then I think that there needs to be a shift in the way that we think. I think that there are hard and soft approaches to dealing with our problems. So with the hard, I mean like technical, legal approaches. And for instance, we have the senior special assistant to the SDGs here. We have the Senate and House committees on SDGs. We have interministerial committees on SDGs. And I really don't know how much has changed though, even though I have to give credit to Princess Adifulire. Since she came into office, I've seen her making the moves, going around, meeting with different stakeholders. I haven't seen, that as much before and then for us, let me deal with the soft. So, and then for the soft, we will then look at culture. Nigeria. I went to Unilag, and everybody, I'm sure, at some point in Unilag must have heard, dress the way you wish to be addressed. That was the dreaded thing. If you're going there, send it. You look at yourself first. And you look at your skirt, if you're a lady, and you say, will they address me the way I wish to be addressed? And then if you don't think that you'll be addressed the way you wish to be addressed, you move away, right? You go back. And I think that that's where we are at now in Nigeria. We have so many intelligent people, but we don't seem to dress ourselves figuratively the way we wish to be addressed. And that's something that needs to change. And it's not just about our leadership. We know that we have a challenge with leadership, but I think it was mentioned earlier when it was said that government cannot do everything. And we have people, and that's why we as an organization, we focus on people, we focus on value system orientation, because our leaders are people. Our leaders are our brothers, fathers, sisters. We are leaders in our own way, in our various capacities. We have opportunity to be leaders. And what do we do with that opportunity? Because it's all of these things that we do that would lead to us achieving the goals. For instance, if you check social media now, there is a proliferation of stories around Yahoo and Yahoo Plus boys, isn't it? It's true. It has increased. Why? Because it seems like a lot of people are not focusing on building, but want to achieve very quickly. And even the entertainment guys spoke about this as well. You want to just hammer now, literally. And it doesn't always happen like that. And I feel like if we have that approach, then, it doesn't really work. Or if we look at the case of the Niger Delta, I'm conversant with the Niger Delta because I work in the extractive space, pursuing advocacy. We just recently developed the nation's first community engagement standards, a tool for businesses to help businesses deal with communities. And you hear that there is conflict in the Niger Delta But then you hear about the huge sums, the trillions of dollars that pass through the Niger Delta. And then you hear about, I mean, every research that comes out tells you, oh, there needs to be a body, an agency managing the funds that come from the Niger Delta so that it reaches the people and all of that. And then you hear about the NDDC and 4,000 projects which were not executed. And then you wonder, who are these people? How can we have all of these nice policies? I know that under the PSAG and the office of Princess Adefiliere, we've come up with something called the integrated SDGs. But how do we achieve these SDGs? Because we have different sectors that feed into our achievement of the SDGs. If these different sectors don't work together, nothing is going to happen. Nothing would actually change. I also think that we need to look at collaboration a lot more. I feel like there's an independence, there's a certain fractioned way of working in the country. So you have this body doing that, you have that body doing that, and it doesn't all come together. I'm glad that we have a set of indicators, but I worry about measurement. How many people know how far we've gone on the SDGs? I see someone shaking her head like, I'm thinking. Okay, so again, because that's where I come from in terms of performance. So yes, we have these SDGs. Yes, we plan towards this. But how have we integrated all of these nice plans into our everyday lives? And how are we as a people working to make that happen? Again, I want us to go back. We're typically happy when we blame government. It's very easy. But then when you hear that the government put a stop to importation of rice so that local content can grow, and then you hear that people started rebagging the local rice into foreign bags, what then do you expect? What can government do? What can government do? And so we need to also, continuously push that narrative that, we need to fight this as a collective. It is not just about one person. It's not just about policy. It's about changing the way we think. It's about inclusion. And I cannot overemphasize the role that business has to play in this. Oftentimes you hear various committees being set up and you wonder, how did they get together, those people who were there? How? Or if it's business, it doesn't have to be big business. There are smaller businesses that are doing wonderful things. How about getting them on board many of these committees that are, constantly formed? I was very excited when, I think it was earlier this year, a young woman that I know, she's actually my age, started the first gold refinery in West Africa. And it was as a result of the government's ERGP lab. And what I'm trying to say here is that more of those conversations, more of those opportunities to engage, legitimate businesses, viable businesses are required. And inclusion doesn't stop with just business and the different government agencies. It also looks at the matter of women, and it looks at the matter of youth. Okay? When I walked in here, people were looking at me like, what is she going to the front to do? And even though I'm excited once again to be the youngest in the panel, it gets lonely at the top. Because we need younger people. I'm getting older. I don't look it, I know. But we need young people all the time because young people are innovative, right? Don't you agree? Young people are innovative, young people have ideas, young people are thinking, young people are coming up with solutions. And I feel like this is the time, if we do really want to achieve the SDGs, then we need to democratize the process. We need to make it accessible. It doesn't need to be that complicated. So, and I think the final point I would make is around communication, awareness, and training. I know that there's a lot of work happening under the radar, but I also know that there needs to be an understanding. So if we want people to be involved, and now I'm talking to government representatives here, if we really want people to be involved in driving the SDGs, then they need to have an understanding of what we're trying to do. Okay, and if they don't have an understanding, then they can't contribute to it. They cannot contribute towards it. And I think that that's where communication comes in. That's where communication comes in. That's where, people are told exactly what it is, are not assumed to be too dumb or too thick to get the big picture. So I think that this can also be achieved when we look at how the different agencies can make this happen. I think about the NDC, for instance, the nationally determined contributions of the Paris Agreement. And I think about the SDGs. And I wonder, how do these two come together? It's a challenge that I think that we need to look at. And if I finalize this on what I had talked about earlier in terms of young people, conversations like this should not happen once in a while. It should not happen once in a while. We should have awareness fora. I mean, there's no harm in having a business and SDGs program on channels. There's no harm in continuously talking about it so that young people have people that they aspire to. They have role models that they look up to. And then these role models also have a responsibility to become better people, because the future of the country and achievement of whatever sustainability drive we aim for is hinged on the development of our young. Thank you.